Hello and welcome to day 12 of the Puro Joshi Advent Calendar here on the channel. My name is Peps and today we are opening another door into the world of Japanese pro wrestling in 2025 as we take a look at the year of Miu Watanabe. Miu's 2025 was kind of defined by both highs and lows. It was a turbulent journey that tested her at every turn before she eventually climbed back to the very top of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling. And in this video, we will take a closer look at Miu's 2025 and how this defining year firmly established her as the ace of Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling for the next couple of years. And with that, I would say we don't waste any more time and jump straight into the video. Watanabe's year kicked off at Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling's annual January 4th Curtain Hall show in front of a sold-out 1,438 people as she was in a main event defending her Princess of Princess title against Mizuki. Miu Watanabe at that point was the Prince of Princess champion for around 280 days after she defeated Miu Yamashita at Crown Princess 2024 in Sumo Hall, defended the belt afterwards successfully 5 times, including against Shoko Nakajima, Vert Vixen, Rika Tatsumi, Ryo Mizunami, and Sarah Circle, and now she was defending it against a former Prince of Prince champion in Mizuki. Mizuki tried in this match to reclaim the belt that she originally held in 2023 for 205 days, where she won the belt from Yuka Sakazaki and lost the belt eventually to Miyu Yamashita. So it was Mizuki, Miyu Yamashita, and then Miu Watanabe who held the belt. And now Mizuki tried to reclaim the belt in a, in my opinion, fantastic match between those two, and one of the best matches that we had in the opening weekend of 2025 in Japan, at least. They just know what they can do in the ring, and they just do it to perfection. Really, it's a spectacular main event with two of the more, I would say, fresher main event stars in TJPW, which is obviously a problem that they had. And this was just fantastic. All watching from the very get-go until the very end. Like, Miu's role in matches has always been kind of different, and it always is all about what her opponent is. In a match against Aniki, Ryo Mizunami, for example, she was more of a typical straight-up ace babyface-like that is fighting back against the dominant veteran, so to speak. Same for her role against Miyu Yamashita and Shoko Nakajima, even against Rika Tatsumi, where she then eventually overcame that role. Meanwhile, here in this match against Mizuki, she took a different role. And I thought it was really interesting. She was more of a, I wouldn't say heel, but a bully. As Mizuki took over the role of being the underdog, while Miu Watanabe just threw her around at every second that she had, used her power to her advantage, and it created a interesting struggle, especially towards the end when Mizuki tried to escape tried to escape everything like that with her quickness. And in the end, it created a fantastic finishing stretch with the crowd being super into it. And in the end, it was none other than Mizuki who got the big win here over Miyu Yamashita, wins the Prince of Princes title, ends the first run as Prince of Princes championess of Miu Watanabe in a, like I said, fantastic match, a match that should be checked out if you haven't done this already. This kind of kicked off a little bit of a losing streak for Miu Watanabe, especially when it comes to getting results. Her results on the typical house show were fine, but once it got a bit more important matches, Miu Watanabe started to struggle a little bit. As an example, in the Futariwa Princess Max Out tournament, she teamed together with Uta Takami, and they both lost in the first round of the tournament against Maxi Paler and Pom Harajuku. Even though it wasn't her original plan, of course, still a little bit of a disappointing result for Miu Watanabe, as she has always been successful in this tournament. In 2022, for example, she even won the tournament together with Rika Tsutsumi. In 2023, she made the semifinals where she lost to Hyper Misao Shoko Nakajima. In 2024, she once again made the final where she lost to Daisy Monkey together with Rika Tsutsumi. Now it's her first round loss in the tournament ever since in a long time, and ever since the tournament existed even. It's a disappointing loss for her, but also continues her kind of downfall that she had during the time that was continued with a match at Grand Princess 2025, the next big pay-per-view, or the first big pay-per-view of TGPW 2025 in Ottawa City Gymnasium, where she wrestled against AEW's Willow Nightingale. And that was a match that was supposed to happen at SummerSlam Princess 2022, but travel issues eventually canceled Willow Nightingale's tour. And ever since, this was kind of match fans hoped that we will see again, but it was okay, they're both kind of not above it in a sense, but above it to the sense that it makes sense to book, but they still booked it, and it was at that point a little bit of a confusing choice because Miu Watanabe was once again heading into the tournament, and everyone was kind of okay, she's facing an AEW wrestler, so she's definitely losing. And people were kind of tired of seeing the young girls in TGPW that they want on the top of the promotion losing. So it was super interesting to see what they are going to do there. And it was cool in the sense of the match itself. The match itself was just cool. They had good chemistry. They just straight up wrestled a typical solid match for 11 minutes with both just running at each other. I don't think it reached the heights that I expected it to, but it also never really got the spark for it. It was fifth from the top, went 10 minutes. Willow was likely, at least that is my guess, likely still chat-liked and everything like that. So you couldn't really expect too much from it, but it was still a good match that I like to watch. Willow Nightingale won with the Dr. Bomb to send Miu Watanabe continuously on the downward spiral. I would give it a 6.5 out of 10. I liked this, but it wasn't the standout match, to be completely honest with you. Miu Watanabe's downward spiral continued then at the WrestleMania weekend, where she challenged at the TGPW live show in Las Vegas Masa Slamovich for the TNA World Knockouts World title. And similar to the match against Willow Nightingale, here I thought it kind of peaked. Never really peaked. It was a good 10-minute outing, good stiff work, but it never really reached the height that you would expect a match like this between Masha Slamovich, who at that point was seen as one of the best non-WWE AEW wrestlers in America, and Miu Watanabe on American Soul in the summer main event. They got 11 minutes. It never really got out of the second gear. And also, I need to say, to be honest, I have watched 500 matches on that weekend. So it kind of really didn't come across as this major thing like it maybe should have. So I would personally see it as a good match that just continued the story that they tried to have with Miu Watanabe losing a ton of matches in a row, especially losing a ton of matches against outsiders in a row was kind of a surprising choice, to be completely honest with you. At that point, at least, because you felt like that is how it was at that time. Looking back, it all worked out well, but at the time, it was okay, Miu Watanabe comes off this run that didn't really move any kind of numbers, and she just loses every match. In the end, it was a good decision, but we will come to that later. Miu Watanabe also competed a couple of times at the Las Vegas show. For example, she was in the Clusterfuck Battle Royal at Georgia Spring Break. She wrestled in a cool 10-woman tag team match on the TGPW DDT and GCW show. And a show I want to give personally a shout out to was the Pandemonium show, The Host Always Wins, where she defeated Maya World in a really fun outing that went 11 minutes or so, and it just had a solid, good match that is available, I believe, on YouTube. So if you want to see that, go on the Pandemonium channel, check this one out. It was really fun. And it also shows you more worthy of my award, who should deserve more credit than she's getting right now. Even though she likely is going to end up with AEW, which is really cool for her. I'm really happy about her. Afterwards, Miu Watanabe decided to step a little bit back from singles work from now, and her next big match was at SummerSlam Princess 2025, where she challenged Hyper Misao Shoko Nakajima together with Rika Tatsumi for the Princess Tag Team titles, and they had a little bit of a cool previews in Dallas, where TGP wrestled had their show in front of 2,500 people there in Dallas, and Miu Watanabe defeated Shoko Nakajima in 16 minutes in a tremendous match. This is very high on the best matches of the year list for TGPW. That is why I will talk about more in detail tomorrow. It's super awesome. Like, they just went absolutely nuts in this match from the very beginning to the very end. It was incredible. You gotta see this one. And this all led to the big match at SummerSlam Princess. And in 25 minutes, Hyper Misao Shoko Nakajima successfully defended the Princess Tag Team titles against Miu Watanabe and Rika Tatsumi in another fantastic match. The entire stretch of Miu Watanabe and TGPW from the Dallas shows all over to the SummerSlam Princess show, like, this was incredible. She looked so good in both of the matches. She just is a top star and showed it in these two matches. But once again, she suffered a devastating loss as Hyper Misao and Shoko Nakajima, like I mentioned, retained the belt, and they continued her downward spiral heading into the Tokyo Joshi Princess Cup. And it was interesting to see, because the Tokyo Princess Cup, unlike most tournaments, they always have a clear favorite. It isn't unusual that big names get a big surprise loss in the early stages, even though TGPW doesn't have these kind of a lot of mid-carders that can defeat everyone. It's still possible in the sense of. And Miu Watanabe was someone that I wouldn't have called one of the favorites heading into the tournament, but I would have called her one of the. It wouldn't be shocking if she wins, but it also wouldn't be shocking if she goes out like round 2. But her draw helped her a lot. In the first round, she faced Raku, who, let's be real, never really defeats anyone. Sorry. So that was an easy game for her in a okay comedy mixed with serious wrestling bout. In the second round, she defeated Haru Katsushiro, and I like this match a lot. Haru is a talent that should be showing out more in the next couple of years. She's just 17 years old, has a very cool look. She wrestles very, very cool and has a quality for a 70-year-old in TGPW that should be praised. Like, she sometimes gets bigger shots. For example, where she is now challenging next for the Princess Tag Team titles together with Yuki Aino against Oba Eats, Wakano Uhara, and Kamiyu. And here she was able to show herself against one of the top stars in TGPW, and she looked pretty good at it. It was, of course, overshadowed by the top 2 matches with Arisa Endo, Miyu Yamashita, and Shoko Nakajima versus Mizuki, but it set the night in terms of tournament action really, really well. Semifinals, Miu Watanabe then was drawn against Shoko Nakajima in a rematch from the Dallas match, and once again, Miu Watanabe wins after around 25 minutes in one of the longest TGPW matches of the entire year against Shoko Nakajima to go up 2-0 against Shoko in 2025 in a match that was likely even better than the match in Dallas. It was outstanding, like so good that you just could always watch it. It was, in my opinion, shocking, right? That like 3 of the matches I praised as the best TGPW match of the year became what was between Shoko Nakajima and Miu Watanabe, with 2 singles matches and, of course, 1 tag team match. And it had everything you really want to. It was super thrilling. It had mat work in it, with Watanabe selling her limbs like super great, and Shoko Nakajima mixing her limb work with her unmatched speed was super cool to see as often. It was just magical. Last 10 minutes was just awesome. Everything just was perfect in this match. I think this was by far the best tournament match. It was so good. It was super, super good. With that, Miu Watanabe makes it to the final of the Tokyo Princess Cup, and it was her second final after 2023, where she defeated in the semifinal Miu Yamashita in a big win. And everyone was like, okay, it's her time, and then she lost to Yuka Sakazaki in 2025. And if we remember her runs, like her matches, big matches throughout the year, it was kind of a question if she once again could step up to the game and win this time, or if her trend continues and she loses once again at the big spot like the majority in 2025. And her opponent was none other than fellow young wrestler in TGPW, Arisa Ando, who had her a really impressive tournament run herself, as she defeated Hyper Misao, Miyu Yamashita, and Yuki Arai on the way to a final, who are like all three big wrestlers that you gotta defeat in the first place. Like all three are wrestlers that I would say are in the hierarchy above Arisa Ando, and she was able to upset all three of them. And now she has Miu Watanabe in front of her at the Hurricane Ultra in the main event. And this match is just great, in my opinion. The match itself was just fantastic, and I think it reached the heights of the previous finals. I would at least put it above last year's final. I'm unsure if I would put it like, at least I would put it in near to the best finals, which is like the Makito final and the one after, which I like loved personally. And it shows you how much not only Miu Watanabe has grown as a wrestler to lead the match, but also Arisa Ando, how she has grown into being able to have these kind of matches in such a big spot. Because, yeah, she has been wrestling for like over 4 years now, but Hurricane Hall main events in TGPW are like very rare. I believe she has had one before in a singles outing, which was the international #1 contenders match against Yuki Aino in 2023? Or am I making this up right now? No, I didn't make this up. It was at Stick Out 2023 in front of 604 fans. It was a great match back then. I think she looked more experienced in this match, and I think you just saw that. Miu Watanabe and her had great chemistry. The crowd was really into it. I think they weren't really getting over the fact too well that it could be an upset, but it was just because everyone at this point just realized, okay, Miu Watanabe is winning, because that's just how TGPW is. TGPW is always, well, it's kind of obvious who is going to win in these big time situations in like the Prince Cup final, which is okay. But it was also like, I think, the third final in a row where he had a young, inspiring talent losing to a established star, which is okay. That is just how TGPW books. But it also doesn't help like the excitement in the match itself for me. But it didn't bother for me because the match quality was still fantastic. With her win, Miu Watanabe then earned a shot once again at the Prince of Princes Championship, a title she has been trying to get again ever since she lost the belt to Mizuki, and her chance was to get the belt back at Wrestle Princess 6 in Ottawa City Gymnasium against Mizuki, who she already lost the belt, and in the rematch, they just did fantastic. Like, come on. It's Miu Watanabe Mizuki. I would personally put this below the match in January, but just a little bit, because I think the crowd wasn't really into it as much as the Sold Out Hurricane, which is, obvious, because the Sold Out Hurricane is like the second best crowd you can have next to a insanely into Tokyo Dome Hurricane, and maybe like Sold Out Sumo or something like that. But for TGPW, it's like Hurricane is the crowd to be in. And I really still love this match. In the end, it was Miu Watanabe who then got the win over Mizuki, wins the belt back with a new version of the teardrop. Like I said, love this match. With that, Miu Watanabe is a 2-time Princess of Princes champion and ranks herself amongst TGPW's best, because next to Mizuki, of course, being a 2-time champion, and Miu Watanabe, it's Shoko Nakajima, Yuka Sakazaki, and Miyu Yamashita. Yuka has 3 title reigns, Miu Yamashi has 4 title reigns, but it's the pillars, Mizuki, who has been kind of the face of the beginning of the 2020s, and now Miu Watanabe, who now takes over as the new face of the company in the end of the 2020s. Well, middle 2020s until the end, likely. And it's well deserved. Her year, even though she has been taking major losses, has always been full of consistent outings. Like her match at Texas, in Dallas, for example, Dallas, Texas was like great. Whenever they put her in some kind of big match situation, doesn't matter against who, she delivered to the extent that they wanted to. So her getting the belt back and getting another run with the belt makes totally sense. I don't think her first run was anything to write home about in terms of how it worked as a title run. The match quality itself was great. Don't get me wrong, because it's Miu Watanabe. So I was interested to see how her second run kicks off, and it kicked off with a defense against Yuka Aino, and in the additional tag 2025 at Korakuen Hall, Yuka Aino challenged after Miu Watanabe won the Princess of Prince title again because she made Miu Yamashita pass out in a tag team match earlier where Yuki Aino teamed with Ryu Mizunami against Kaya Toribami and Miu Yamashita. So Yuki Aino just got her shot based on that, and that match, my God, an additional tag was just great. Yuki Aino, I've said this in the last video, I will say this always. This match is just so good. She's so good, and she just deserves it. And she deserves every chance that she gets, and she deserves a belt down the road. Her and Miu Watanabe delivered a Korakuen Hall banger here. Just 17 minutes of just pure insanity, pure great wrestling, and I love this so much. Miu Watanabe's second defense came against J-Rod, an American wrestler from overseas that they brought in for this match, and I was interested to see, how this will deliver, and it just went 30 minutes, and it was good. It was exactly what it needed to be, a good outing, with J-Rod showing what she can do, with Miu Watanabe playing this perfect ace babyface character, and they just had a fun outing. And with that, Miu Watanabe has one more defense scheduled in 2025 against Matcha at the TTWX the show, and then she's going to defend, because she's likely going to retain, spoiler alert, against Suzume on January 4th, 2026. And with that, I would talk about her 2024-6, her outlook, what we can expect here, and what 2025 really meant to her. Her outlook for 2026 will be interesting because she has a match against Suzume coming up, and I think everyone expects her to retain here. At least she should be retaining, because as I mentioned in the last video, I believe that Suzume is a wrestler that maybe loses her first title match, but then wins the second title match, like later in the year. For me, Watanabe, it just feels like the start of her ace run. She has now won every accomplishment in TTW with the Prince of Princess title twice, International Princess title, Princess Tag Team title, the Max Heart Tournament, and the Tokyo Princess Cup, and she's the first in TTW history to do all of that. And I think that mixed with how she has been booked right now just speaks for her getting a long title run. And in my opinion, it would be well deserved. Like, she is by far the most clean informed wrestler that I have, and she's by far the biggest star that I have right now. So why not going all in with her, right? Like, I think that would be perfect. Like, I would go with her at least until Wrestle Princess 7 as a champion, especially if Sumo Hall coming up. I would have her on top there as well, coming out of the show, maybe against like a Yuki Rai or someone like that. Like, she needs an impressive outing there and big win where another one gets elevated aside of her. So I'm really interested to see how they book her. I personally look out to 2025 at a sense of 2026 at a sense of, okay, just establish her, continue to establish her as the top star of the company. Just let her run through everyone for a year, and I think that will pay off the entire storylines for the next 3 years with her. And with that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and comment down below. We see each other tomorrow, where we talk about the top 5 matches TTW, in my opinion at least, of 2025. With that, bye bye.